Hello, my name is Jay, and welcome to Bloom Session 1. This is going to be a general reading for all signs. All messages will not resonate, but be sure to take what does resonate with you. And be also sure that to like, comment, share, subscribe, do all the good things to help this channel bloom. And yeah, so let's go ahead and get right into it. I'm going to start off with the energy oracle cards to get our session started. Patience. Because I was about to get ready to ask out loud, like, should I wait for a jumper card or should I just cut the deck and pull? And as soon as I was getting ready to ask that, a card popped out. And it's Healer of the Ages. I think you are going through some of the most fundamental, transformative healing that you will probably ever go through in your lifetime. And it truly is foundational. It is foundational, and it's also directional, intentional. Not even intentional, but directional. And whether it's intentional or not depends on you. But it's definitely the foundation for the direction in which your life is going to go from now. You've kind of gotten to a point where it's time to choose if you are going to live as a healed being or if you're going to continue to manifest a reality that reflects how you are not healed and where you do need healing. And I don't want to make it sound like it's like now or never type thing, but I do feel like this time is pivotal. At the bottom of the deck, we have Deceit, and then we have Walking Away. So I do feel like some of you all are walking away from deceit. And that is what's really beckoning this call for transformation, for healing, for setting the foundation and choosing which direction you want to go now in your life. Because you are choosing to walk away from this deceit, you're choosing to walk away from this manipulation, this twisted energy. Since you are walking away from the deceit, the manipulation, the trickery, the twisted energy, where you are right now mentally is really important. How you're choosing to, what thoughts you're choosing to give credit to, what thoughts you're choosing to give valid to, and really having to be presently aware, because the universe is mind. And so much of this reality that we live in is made up of our own thoughts and our own feelings and what we vibrate out to this vibrational universe. And if you take the time to listen to your thoughts, it will tell you what your heart is feeling. though sometimes it can be hard to move in from those mental thoughts to the emotional feelings, because, you know, if your thoughts are reflecting a unhealed version of you, to move into the emotional attachment to those thoughts, it's going to take like a new level, like a deeper level of bravery or courage, both. You see, he has this fire. You have to be willing to go through the fire. You have to be willing to walk through the fire of purification. Fire is cleansing. Fire is destructive. Fire is an element that we need when it comes to alchemizing our lives and creating transition within our lives and creating change. Fire is a necessary component to change. Okay, so I'm staring at this deceit card right here, and I'm looking at what he's holding in his hands, because I felt the need to pick up my card. So I'm shuffling with my hands, and through me using my hands, it just made me subconsciously look at what he's holding in his hands. And I feel like this card is a representation of your inherent value, just as a spark of divinity, a spark of the creator. And knowing that and being able to embody that energy, because you have been through the fire, the rain, the valleys and peaks and mountains and oceans and rivers and swamps. You know, you have incorporated all of the elements that you can use in alchemy beyond the earthly elements. Like, you have used all of the alchemical elements of transformation to become the best version of you, because you were here to bloom. And you realize that. And we realize that. That is why my channel, not even my channel, because my channel is called Here We Bloom, but my overarching thing, I can't call it a business yet because it's not a business, but my overarching vision, the title to my vision of what I want to create and put out into the world, is titled The Sacred Lotus Effect, because I really am influenced and moved and motivated by the symbolism of the lotus, like the spiritual symbolism of the lotus, and you know what it takes for a lotus to bloom. And you did what it took to bloom. Even if you're not finished unfolding, what really got you is the potential to be able to bloom. Like, other people saw who you were before you saw who you were. And that potential was always something that was recognized, whether it was acknowledged, you know, whether it was actually communicated to you, it was always recognized. It was always, they were always aware of it. And you were late to the party, but you came to. At the bottom we have broken heart, and then we have rest and rejuvenate, and then we have attachment, and then we have angel of love. So I see this as you were probably so hurt and so broken from things that happened to you early in your life that you weren't able to see this potential because of the perspective you were looking at yourself and looking at your life through. But the cards that you were dealt were like magnificently, it's magnificently, right? Oh my gosh. Like, the cards you were dealt were so wonderful and auspicious and amazing and just like crafted just for you, designed just for you. Nobody else could build a house of cards with your deck. Like, nobody will be able to make something out of nothing with your deck but you, with what you were dealt with. And you were dealt with it for a reason. And you learned that in the rest and rejuvenation phase. And if you haven't learned that, well, then it's time to go into your rest and rejuvenation phase so that you can see that for yourself, because it doesn't matter how many people tell you, it doesn't hit and it doesn't stick, and you can't embody it until you notice it for yourself. And sometimes that takes moving away from distractions, moving away from coping mechanisms, because right after rest and rejuvenation, we do have the attachment card. And within this phase of rest and rejuvenation, you will see all of the more shadowy, lower vibrating aspects of self and of your life and of your past that you are still carrying with you, whether you realize it or not. Sometimes we can be so good at hiding from ourselves that we don't see our truth. Or if we do see our truth, we dismiss it, we make excuses for it, we don't acknowledge it for what it really was, because we have to realize that, we have to realize that our past choices, our past mistakes, things that we did, emotions that we felt, they don't define us, and they don't have to create our lives. They don't have to create who we are. We can always be the one to alchemize what we've been through and who we are into something that is more to our desire. Because to live a life that you desire, you have to be the person that you desire to be. And if you're so caught up on the undesirable aspects of self and attached to them, then you can't get to your own source of love that is always available to you, always coursing through you. They're keeping you alive. Sometimes it can be so difficult to see all of the good energy and the high vibrating energy around you. And to that, I say, start making a gratitude list, because when you take the time to be grateful for what you do have, it does open up your heart chakra, and it does spark a light in your heart chakra. Hopefully, hopefully being able to write down all that you're grateful for, like, despite where you are, where you've been, what your circumstances are, you probably, if you're watching this, like if you have a phone, a computer, a laptop, a tablet, if you're watching this, then 9 times out of 10, you have a lot more than a lot of people in the world do. And sometimes we need to not only take a step back to see ourselves as who we are and see ourselves as how we're showing up into this physical reality, but we also need to take a step back and just kind of not look at ourselves, like look at the world around us and see the state that it's in. Because a lot of times that can shock you into leveling up. It can shock you into transforming. For a lot of us, we do have to be triggered into change. because, you know, if things are good, if things are going great, what's the point of changing it? You know, we want things to be good. We want things to be great. But it's when things aren't good and when things aren't great that you really find out what you're about and who you are and what you really bring to the table and what you really bring to the physical reality. Okay, so now we're going to go into the wisdom of the oracle deck. A change in the wind. Definitely a change in perspective. We have observer. Yeah. I feel like this is coming up to say that, you know, it's not like healing is an everyday process. Who really goes through a day without being triggered in some type of way? Every day is a day to level up. Every day is a chance to, like, it doesn't have to be physical, material, financial. I'm just saying, like, we are spiritual beings here we are spiritual beings here having a human experience, and that spiritual being part is always going to dictate what the human experience looks like. So there is, you know, clear instructions and plenty, like in almost every religion and spiritual belief system, there are clear instructions to seek within first, and then the external will be, you know, provided for you. Like what you need will be provided for you. What you desire, what you want will be provided for you. You can find that teaching in that underlying foundational aspect in pretty much every religion and spiritual belief. Obviously, I can't say all of them because I don't know all of them, but from the ones that I do know, which are a lot, that is something that is clearly fundamental. And every day you are a spiritual being having a human experience, and every day that human experience, it means something. Every day is defining, and not even in like a strict way, but in are you consistent? Like, it's how you show up to the world, who you choose to be. Are you consistent in it? Or are you always fluctuating? Are you being swayed by triggers? Are you being swayed by other people? Can you, on a day-to-day basis, consistently show up as the best self that you are able to be? And that doesn't have to be something that's extraordinary. It's very simple. It's just leading your life with spirit, leading your life with love, leading your life with compassion, leading your life with gratitude. Like, because even in the bad times, even in the times where you feel like, you know, what's the point? It's like, I lost my train of thought. Okay. It's how you respond in the tough times. It is how you it's like, okay, I don't know. I don't know how to say it. Like, I don't know how to say it. I'm upset because I had it and then it just kind of looped. But what I was trying to say was, but the change in the wind and the observer card, every day you have to be willing to step into spirit. You have to have your spiritual awareness. You have to have your intuition on. Like, you have to, it's not like, I don't know, like, it's a commitment. How do I say it? It's a change in the wind, a change in perspective, a change in the way that you think, a change in the way that you come to life, the change in the way that you express your being here on the physical world. And to do that, you have to be in an observer position. You have to be in this world, but not of this world. You have to be able to be in the matrix, mingle in the, like, your physical self is here, but mentally you're connected to something beyond. You're leading your life by a force, a power, or source that is bigger than this, that is beyond all this, because you realize that this physical world is nothing but a play, a reflection, an illusion, and that everything is made up of energy. So every single physical person that you see, every single physical object that you see is not actually physical. It's just small things of energy moving and vibrating. So what does that mean? Like, every day you have to wake up with that knowing and ask yourself, what does that mean? And how is that going to show up and play out in my life today? Because that truth, once you know that truth, it's supposed to come up and it's supposed to show up and play out in your life every day. The sun don't shine for nothing. The sun don't rise for anything. The moon don't change phases for anything. The earth doesn't revolve around the sun for anything. The universe is not in existence for anything. Hot isn't hot and cold ain't cold for anything. And if you are in this glorious design that none of us can actually make out, like, none of us knows really what, how, when, where, and you get to experience and exist in this glorious design, you should wake up every day feeling like a glorious, shut your mouth. Every day. Every day. Especially if you are in a position where you are as fortunate enough to be watching this video. What does that mean for you? You have a device in your hand that allows you to watch videos. There are videos, there are cameras, there's this whole life that's been built up from the literal dust, the literal ground. Years before, we didn't have half of the things that we have now. What does that evolution mean? And it's not like you have to wake up every day and get all the answers. It's just waking up every day and being so connected to spirit that you know how you're supposed to move throughout your life on a day-to-day basis. And you're not out here lost in the sauce, going nowhere fast. Just out here doing and moving, shucking and jiving. And also with the observer card, it doesn't matter how it looks to anybody else in your life. Because half the folks ain't living the life they want to live. Half the folks ain't who they say that they are. And half the folks don't even have a connection with God. So how can they say anything about yours? Because 9 times out of 10, if you have 10 times out of 10, no, 10 times out of 10, if you have a true, authentic connection with God, you're not really into the business of questioning other people's connection with God, because real recognize real. And it doesn't matter what religion you come from or what spiritual belief you believe in. When you've been through that fire, when you've been through that test, when you've been through that transformation, that leveling up, even when you, because you don't just go through it. When you are in that process, when you are about that life, you recognize it. Like, and when you are about that life, you don't have to worry about anybody else's life, anybody else's connection to God, anybody else's spiritual experience, because you know that everything works in divine order and it's none of your business. It's literally none of your business. And the only time it is your business is when somebody comes and makes it your business. When somebody wants, and even then it doesn't have to be your business. I'm just saying, you get it? You get it? Like, you got the blessed card, okay? Your connection with God, your, journey with God is nobody else's business. How it looks on the outside is nobody else's business, because we are meant to fall short of the glory. We are meant to fall short of what we desire ourselves to be. We're not meant to be perfect. And it may get to a point where we are, more perfect than not, because we done been through it so much that we're seasoned and we're masterful in our craft. We're masterful in our skill of life, in our art of life. But it takes time to become a master and seasoned. What does that mean? You've been working through the seasons. It takes time. It does. And there's really no rush in it. Because again, everything is in divine order. But you can't slow yourself down. You can't halt your progress. You can stop your progress, because at the same time, we have free will. We have free will. So when you look around at other people and you're observing other people and you're wondering why they choose to be, how they choose to be, it's because they have the free will to do so. So stop making excuses for people, because people who really try, you see it in them. You don't, you never have to question it or assume it. And if you do, intuition will tell you real quick what it is and what it ain't. But knowing that you're blessed, you have to realize that there are going to be some people who are envious of that, because they don't have that, because they're not willing to forge through that fire, because it hurts. It's painful. You didn't get here by, sliding down rainbows and running with unicorns. We have come to the edge. You went to the edge of your life. You went to the very edge. So far that you probably could have just jumped off and said, trigger warning, but you went that far to the edge. And even though you knew it was dangerous, even though you knew that it was that heartbreaking, that it could be, it was that heartbreaking and that painful that it could be that serious and that dangerous and that risky to your physical existence. Going that deep into the darkness of your being, that deep into the not even just your being, but going that deep into the lower levels, going that deep into the underworld of yourself and the underworld of this reality. Because if you can have heaven on earth, you can have hell on earth. And a lot of times we go through hell first. And we go through hell first so that we can appreciate heaven, for one thing. But heaven on earth comes with a lot of responsibilities, a lot of discipline, a lot of accountability. So, heaven and hell, they're just terms. They're just human words that we make up. But if you're here with me, we're beyond that. It's just a way to describe this human experience and the experiences that we go through as humans in a way that is understandable to us and almost unconsciously, like subconsciously understandable to us, because it is permeated into our everyday being, especially if you live in the Western world. So you went to the edge of hell. You went to the edge of your own personal hell and the hell of your world. Yeah, we have chaos and conflict. You saw how damaging this life can be. You saw how damaging this life is because you were damaged. You were broken. You were down. You were out. Like, you were, if you was at the edge of hell, like, what? But you were willing to go the distance. The marathon continues. You were willing to go the distance. And baby, it's not that many people who are. But I do think that that's changing. I do feel like that, but I could be wrong. It's a hard knock life. That's what's coming into my head. Like, it's a hard knock life. It can be so much trickery afoot, so much manipulation. And then if you hear, you know, like, we got the black magic, we got the hexing, we got the just negative energy, the attacks. And if you get this card blessed, then you should know, like, you're gonna get this too. And it's not even about if you deserve this. It's not even about if you deserve it. It's just like, it's more so, do you know that you deserve it? Are you aware that you deserve it? And do you truly believe with every fiber of your being that you are deserving and worthy of the blessings that whoever brought this together? Because you know, like, you have had enough experiences in your life to know that there is something underlying this human experience. There is something bigger than us that created us, that brought us all together, brought all this together, something so divine, magnificent, magical, wonderful, amazing. And it's just like, if you are aware of that, then you should be aware that your life can be that, because you are that. Like, if you can see the beauty in creation, you should always be able to see the beauty in the creation that is you. And when you can see that in its truth, despite what you or other people may see as flaws, that's when, like, you're really deserving. Because it's like, no matter what, I can always redeem myself. I can always come back to who I am. Because this human experience is not who we are. It's about our spiritual beings, our spiritual essences, not even, you know, our minds and our emotions and like the things that come with having a physical experience, but more so like who we are as spiritual beings, birthed into this physical reality. This physical reality is meant to give us an experience of duality, an experience of the dual sides of human nature and nature, even earth nature. You see the dual sides when you see the hurricanes, tornadoes, and earthquakes, but then you also have northern lights, rainbows, and beautiful mountains, and, you know, glorious things about the earth. But even she is dual in nature. Everything about this reality is dual in nature, and it is embedded into almost every culture. I'm pretty sure in every culture, in every country, in every place of the world, this play on good and bad good and evil is everywhere. The hero and the villain, like, it's everywhere. You see it everywhere. And that is not in, those aren't archetypes. Those are archetypes for a reason. That is a play that is so expansive and so embedded into human reality for a reason. Like, it's for a reason. And it's not even about trying to figure out all the answers of why is this and why is it that. It's just, it is what it is. And since we all have this experience that we're going through, where there are dual forces coming at us, one is getting us to try to go this way, one's trying to get us to go that way, and it's just about which way you're gonna come through, like which source you're gonna come through, what force are you gonna bring, like what force are you gonna move in. And truth be told, you gotta really have a delicate balance between the two of them. You really do. You gotta walk a fine line in between both of them, because if you too good, if you too light, if you too love, you will get fucked up. We see this all the time. That is something that is pretty much embedded into our lives, as well as, like, some of the most innocent people, some of the most some of the most innocent people who are really naive and really just so love and light and so positive that they see that everywhere. You know, because there's some people who really do have that perspective, and 9 times out of 10 you probably have that perspective too. I feel like we almost come into this world with that perspective, or maybe we don't, I don't know. But people who can just, since they have that love and light within them at such a to such an enormous extent, it can cloud their vision, and they can just see it in almost anybody. And that's how people can get in some very precarious situations, or some really, really sinister situations. Because even when their intuition or their gut feelings is trying to tell them that there is danger, they can still see the love and light in people. Because everybody has it. Because everybody has it, even if people don't recognize it within themselves, or even if people do recognize it within themselves but choose not to move in that energy. Some of us can be so naive and so innocent that we allow that to cloud our vision and associate ourselves with energies that are to the utmost danger of our energy and of our being and of our lives and all of that. Truth be told, a lot of people be wearing masks, okay? And truth be told, having a distorted way of thinking to the point where you try to see the good in everybody, like, that's just as bad as wearing a mask. Like, that is just as bad as wearing a mask, because in a way you still are wearing a mask, in a way, like, it's not that you're being fake or that you're not showing who you truly are. It's that you're refusing to see what truly is. So you're not wearing a mask. You're letting the wool be pulled over your head, over your eyes, and refusing to see. And I really feel like that's something that you had to observe. That is why you had to go to the edge of hell to save you, to bring about a change in the wind, and to bring about your blessings. But you had to Go the distance through this chaos and conflict that has probably been your life for a while now. Okay, so let's move into the Sacred Destiny cards. I'm gonna take these. It's a few of them, but I feel like it's for a reason. At the bottom of the deck, we have power, and I feel like that's going to make a play in this reading. We have solitude. So yeah, that's that place you have to go to hopefully you went to the edge of hell by yourself and you didn't take too many people with you. Of course, you probably met people along the way, and you know, you might be journeyed a little bit together, but hopefully once you got towards the end, you were alone. Because you really got to go through hell alone. You got to go through life alone. Ain't nobody else really doing it but you. And I mean that in a way of nobody is going to experience your personal hell, the hell that lives within your mind, in your heart, in your spirit, but you. Nobody's going to experience those shadowy aspects and how they make you feel, because the experiences that you've gone through can be perceived and felt completely different to somebody else. Like somebody else may perceive that experience and feel completely different about that experience versus how you felt. Like nobody has to be freed of your attachments. Only you have to be freed of your attachments. Only you have to, you know, transform your hurts. Nobody else can do that for you. So you have to go into a place of solitude. Even if you're not like technically alone, you remove distractions. You step away. You do go into a place of solitude in one way or another. We have forgiveness, and then you don't come out. You do not come back from the edge of hell without going through a phase of forgiveness and forgiving yourself, forgiving other people, and even sometimes forgiving God, forgiving the Creator, because it'd be like WTF. Really? That's what this is? Like, how did this come into creation? Like, where is this originated in? 7 sins of hell just came into my mind, but I'm not sure why. Is it 7 sins of hell? I really am not sure. I think it is. But 7 sins of hell just came into my mind. We will have to look into that. I'm pretty sure the 7 sins of hell are in some way, shape, or form counteracted by like 7 gems of heaven. So we're gonna do something with that. Okay. Thriving. After forgiveness and after solitude, we have thriving. I love these cards. They're so beautiful. And we have change. We are thriving because we decided to go ahead and make these changes that we knew we needed to make. Because it was for our better. We have flexibility. You know how in the past things could happen in your life that would break you? It would break off parts of you. You're not doing that anymore. Now when things happen, you're going to bend with them. You're going to bend with the energy. You are going to adapt and transform into the energy you need to be to adapt to the energy of the situation that's being presented to you. Whether you need to be stronger or you need to be wiser, or you need to take action, or you need to be still. Like, it is meeting what is being brought to you in the form that you need to be, because we are spiritual beings. We are all energy. So when a physical experience comes up to you, what form you choose to be spiritually, mentally, and emotionally is going to be the overarching reflection of how you show up in the world, and also be the overarching reflection of the results of this meeting, this energetic matchup. I don't know, like, it is a challenge. I'm in my mind, I'm envisioning like it's you, like in a boxing ring. It's us, ourselves, like you in a boxing ring, and then it's this challenge that life brings up to you. And it may be people in this challenge. It may not have anything to do with anybody else or whatever it may be, but I just see you like. And then I also see that TV show where like it was a game show, and people would try to bend their bodies, and there would be like this wall with this shape coming towards them, and then they would try to bend their bodies so that they could, fit into the shape. Like, that is the vision that I'm getting with the flexibility card. It's like you are going to bend and mold to the shapes that you need to bend and mold into to be able to pass as smoothly through life's challenges and life's tests. Like, you will be able to move flexible into that form that you need to be in order to pass through the game of life. You will no longer be breaking off parts of yourself. And then we have blessings again. So, if you are able to, win that game, like if you were literally on a game show and you won the game and you were able to bend your body, what would you do? You would get rewards. You would get rewarded for that. There would be some sort of incentive, because if there was not an incentive, you probably wouldn't be up there doing it. And 9 times out of 10, if there is a boxing match happening, then there is sometimes a lot of money that is an incentive, that is a reward for being able to be the champion in that boxing match. And there is big incentives and big rewards that comes with being the champion of your life. And it's not about being the champion of other people's lives or being the champion in other people's lives. Like it's not about other people seeing that. Like, you don't have to have other people see you as a champion in your life, okay? That was one of it. And then the second of it was like, you are nobody else's savior. You are not supposed to be anybody else's champion in anybody else's life, because if that's the case, then they're not being their own champion in their life. They may see you and recognize the champion in you, but you should never be the champion for them. That is an imbalance. The last card we have is trust. trust that there is a champion in you. Like, no matter how great or how amazing you may see another person to be, understand that the reason why you see that in that person is because it exists within you as well. And you are recognizing your potential. You are recognizing the possibility for your being, for who you can be. Recognizing the champion in somebody else was never about dismissing or degrading or demeaning or lowering the value of the champion in you. And that is the difference between, you know, the physical life challenge, like, you know, that's the difference between being a champion in the physical world and a champion in the spiritual realm. There can really, if there is a literal boxing match, there can only be one champion. Like, there's only going to be one person to win that fight. But in the spiritual realm, when these are spiritual matters, this is a spiritual match, everybody included in the issue and the situation can come out a champion, can come out a winner. Because spiritually, we're all just as valuable as the other. We all come from the one champion, the main champion, the source of champions. We all come from that. And it's about recognizing it within yourself, despite what you've been through, despite what you're going through, and despite what other people doing. That is the illusion of the physical realm that keeps so many people trapped on this side of the veil, not being able to peek behind that curtain and see what really is. And that is the power. And that is the power. Being able to move beyond this physical realm, beyond this physical illusion, and being able to work in the spiritual realm because you know it. You can't do a thing that you don't know. You can't, like, if there is work to be done, but you know nothing about the work, you can't do it. And to have that spiritual power, that spiritual essence, that championship, like that champion presence, that champion power, you gotta go through the process. Purification, sunflower, sun, fire, like, you gotta go through that purification. And that purification will undoubtedly open you up to the truth, the vibrational truth, the energetic truth. It doesn't have to be spiritual. You don't even have to say that it's spiritual, because spiritual is just another word. It's just like, for one, human language cannot, there are no words in the human language that can really truly define this experience. And that's why so many people who live this experience say it's hard to explain, it's hard to define, because you're not supposed to be able to explain it. You're not supposed to be able to define it. Like, it's lower. The mind is lower than the spiritual realm. So the mind can't get up there and comprehend it and say what it is and what it isn't, because it's not even up there. It's not leveled up there enough. It can't. And the spiritual world does not really speak, and the spiritual realm can absolutely speak in human language. Well, what I mean to say is that, dang it, I lost it again. What the hell? The spiritual realm is so much more expansive and so much more beyond the logical, the physical, the mental realm. Like, it can't. The spiritual realm can get all into the mental realm, all into the emotional realm, and all the way into the physical realm. because the mental realm, the emotional realm, and the physical realm are just made up of denser and more denser energies of the spiritual realm. But it can't go the other way. We can be tricked into thinking that it can, like, you can believe that a physical experience is what triggers you into making a spiritual awakening or a spiritual level up, but really, like, no, this was already planned out in spirit, and the human world is playing, it's actually playing on the trigger that was set off in the higher realms, in the spiritual realms, beyond you, because you're not in control. You have co-creative powers, you have some power, you do have some control, absolutely, and you get more and more and more as you become more masterful and as you become more seasoned. But you have to realize that even then, like, you are still limited by a human experience, and there's this whole other realm going on, and there's this whole other play going on beyond you, and you may think that a physical experience is coming to you and triggering you, but actually it was already filtering, and you just came upon it, because, you know, we're not supposed to know everything that's supposed to come up next. You're not supposed to have all the answers. That's another thing. Like, you're not, just know, just know, like, just know. The spirit realm has way more play and way more say-so and holds way more weight than the physical reality. And yeah, it's really, really important to be in tune with it, because that's just the way that it is. Like, that's what I mean by you're not supposed to have all the answers. Like, it's just the way that it is, and it is a design that is beyond our human minds to understand. And when you get it, you just get it, and you get it because it just is, and you don't need an explanation for why it is. You just enjoy it and experience it for what it is. Okay, so that was the reading with the oracle cards. If you would like to, you can subscribe to me on Patreon, and we are going to do a more in-depth reading, and we're going to bring out the tarot cards, and we'll spend some time over there and have a good time, bloom some more, grow some more, strengthen our roots some more, shine light some more, and gain more nutrients for survival and for thriving over on Patreon. So I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, again, please like, share, comment, subscribe, all the good things to help the channel bloom, and I will see you all next time. Bye-bye. The Five of Wands can represent a group of like-minded individuals whom are having a spiritual experience that is highlighting their differences and the conflict and the contrast that and the chaos that happens from the fact that we are all different, we are all unique, and we all will conflict with each other in one way or another. It is something that is natural, and it is something that can be used to expand our perspective, expand our understanding, expand our compassion, expand our love. And it can also be something that can deliver us peace, because you can kind of relax into the understanding that, you know, it's not really about how other people see you, because there's always going to be likes and dislikes. It's always going to be that conflicting energy that you will have with another person, because conflict, it brings growth. Because most of us, we're on a path to somewhere. We're trying to get to something. We have our desires, we have our dreams, we have our goals. We're trying to get there. And 10 times out of 10, pretty much, like anywhere you're trying to get to, you have some type of motivating reason within you, some type of motivating reason that has probably come from a past experience as to why you're trying to get to where you're trying to go. We're all motivated by something, and sometimes we need to analyze that. But also, like, it's not to say that our desires are bad, but some can be like purely egotistical, purely arising from a lower vibration. So you gotta be careful with what you're holding and what your driving force is and the source of your driving force. Because you can be sourcing from a negative place, or you could be sourcing from a positive place. And with the Three of Cups and the Two of Swords, this is talking about how our emotional attachments to other people can keep us from moving forward, making decisions mentally, because you are attached to, one way of thinking, one way of perceiving. And now you're taking in new information that challenges that perception that you once had. And that perception was valid, because once you had that perception, once you took on that perception of life, that was what was reflected back to you. But understanding that once you change your perception, you change your life. And it's not about invalidating the past perceptions that you had, but growing and becoming more expansive and taking on new perceptions. And if new information is canceling out old information, then you let it go. If new information, I am worthy, is canceling out I am unworthy, you let it go.